Okay. Sorry it's been a little while. Uh, just having the time to do it, or thinking about it, or remembering to do it, or to even want to do it. Because there'll come a moment in this that it's going to be hard for me to do it. But anyway, when that time comes, I'll worry about that bridge when I come to it. Uh, last I left off, I was 16, and I had climbed up on the roof to take a broken CB antenna down to repair it myself. Um, I got it down. I went up on the roof with the ladder that Daddy always kept beside the house. I knew how to get up and down, like I said before. Not the first time I've ever been up there with or without him. Um, I got the antenna. I lowered the antenna down by myself, carefully as I could, and then I decided I wasn't going to use the ladder to come down. I wanted to see if I could make the jump, if I could land on my feet, and without much injury, if at all. Well, you can already guess how that went. I jumped, well, not really jumped. I just kind of let myself. I took a leap off, the roof, off the edge, um, uh, straight down. Uh, Landed on my feet, lost my balance, and fell backwards on my back onto the ground. I don't know if the camera will show this correctly or not. It would probably show the exact opposite. I, in the camera, it's showing I'm holding my right arm up, when in fact, in reality, I'm holding up my left arm. The mirror image. This bottom bone right here, this is my forearm, okay? This bottom bone, I dislocated it, knocked it out of socket. And I'd hit my head, the back of my head. Must not have been too severe because they didn't try to keep me awake the entire time. Uh, Mama had to rush me to Columbus Medical Center in Columbus, Georgia, which is about 30 to 45-minute trip, depending on how you go. We were there for what seemed like forever, obviously. Um, they had me in surgery on the 2 or 3 times. They took me into the X-ray room, laid me on the table, and they kept trying to do it in the surgery room, trying to pop the bone back in. They had given me plenty of pain meds. They didn't want to give me too much because I'm a small, I'm small, and I probably weighed maybe 110 pounds. So they didn't think they thought my tolerance to pain medication was low, when it wasn't. I don't know why. It just never really has been low. Um, they eventually we finally, instead of trying to move me back and forth from X-ray room to uh, surgery room, or whatever you want to call it, uh, they finally just continued working on me right there in the X-ray room on the X-ray table, and I think they stuck a pillow up under my head to give me comfort, and I would nod off and pass out because of the pain medication, and when they did stuff to me, moving me or whatever, or trying to pop the bone back in place, it would jar me, it would stir me. So the last time they done it, and I was conscious enough at that final moment. I felt the bone pop in. No, there was no pain, but I did feel the bone pop back in the joint. They still weren't sure. Is it in? Is it in? I think I felt it going in. It kind of sounded like it went in. There's a group of them. Okay, I don't know, about a handful, or maybe, I don't know, 5, 6, 7. I don't know, because they were trying to, everybody had to assist with carrying me back and forth, lifting me up, this and that, making sure they didn't hurt me, because I'm a kid. They don't want a lawsuit. But they were, did you hear it? I think I heard it. Did you hear it? This is the conversation that's taking place while I'm half out of it. I think I felt it. Did you feel it? I'm not sure. What do you think you felt? Finally, I spoke up. I said, "It's in," and they just looked at me like I was come back from the dead, and they weren't expecting they weren't expecting any voices from that direction. Like, it's in, like they'd been shot. Like they were almost afraid they were having a wake from somebody being dead, and like I had just I just lifted myself up, like a mummy. That was the kind of reaction they kind of gave me. And I still think that's funny every time I think about it. So anyway, we're done with all that. I'm out there in the waiting room. I'm in recovery, whatever. I'm in my own room, and they wouldn't let Mama come in there and see me no matter what. Besides that, she had my 2 sisters with me, so she kind of had to keep an eye on them. I finally nodded off. I finally just passed out, because I don't remember anything from that point. I don't remember anything at all whatsoever until I came a little conscious after we had gotten home, and Mama and my sisters were carrying me through the yard, trying to have me, try to walk a little bit myself, because all 3 of them didn't have the muscle to carry that much weight. They were all having to help each other out with it. I recall coming conscious enough to realize they're carrying me across the yard into the house, and I remember seeing the door open to the house with the living room light on, and I think my bedroom light was on too. I don't remember. There was a direct view from the front door, or from the side door of the house, which is what we normally use, not the front door. And I remember seeing that much, and then I passed out again. I didn't come to officially until it was already probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning at that time. Maybe 12, 1 o'clock that morning. I don't remember. I don't know how late it was. I got told how late it ended up being by the time they got back and got home and everything. I don't remember what time I woke up that morning. I remember it was later that morning, or later the next day, or that morning, whatever. I think I might have been in a cast. I don't remember. No, I don't think I was ever in a cast. I think I was just in a sling. Matter of fact, I don't. I've never been in a cast that I can recall in my entire life. Um, Never had anything that severe happen to have to be put in a cast. And I've had my collarbone cracked too in a fight. Um, well, it wasn't my collarbone. Yeah, it was my collarbone because it didn't get completely broken. It just got cracked. Because I was told at that point if I had actually broke it or had dislocated it, then I could, always use that as my advantage, if I ever get tied up or something. But anyway, um, I was that way for quite a while. I stayed at home to recover. I didn't want to go back, not like that. I didn't want to go back to school anyway. I hated school. Um, the older I got, the further I went, the worse I hated it. The worst. The worse I hated it. Um, I continually had my schoolwork brought home by Mama. When she'd go pick up my sisters, she'd pick my schoolwork up, and then I would have, they just told me to do it, just try to get better, to get back, do it as I felt like it or as I could, or try to, do it as soon as I possibly could. It's like, stay caught up, wouldn't fall behind. So I'd do it. She'd take it back, or they'd tell her about what day they would probably have any more that she could pick up, and I would try to get it done before that time, so when she could make it one trip. She was always going in that area anyway because my sisters went to school in the same area or nearby it. So it wasn't that big of a deal out of the way when this had to be done. But so we'd make one whole trip out of it. On those days when they had work ready and available for me to pick up, she'd take the old work. I'd have the old work. I would be getting that old work done by then, by or before then, waiting for her. She'd take it on the day of to exchange, and then she'd do a one trip exchange. Bring in new work, or give me these tests that I had to take, whatever. A lot of times I was allowed to have open book, open notes, whatever. I'd still tried to do the right thing and study. Anyway, that went on for, I don't know, 4 or 6 months. So they're like, is he going to be able to come back? He really needs to come back. We can, we can excuse, but he really needs to return. So after I got on or right before I got on my sling, I think it was, I went ahead and returned. It might have been after I got out of my sling. I was still having to, I had to start physical therapy. And I'll do that at the Warm Springs Roosevelt Institute, which is no longer there anymore. It's closed. It's where Roosevelt, one of our presidents, he went there for his therapy when he had polio. He would soak in the warm springs as his therapy because he said it helped him. But anyway, I went there. No, wait a minute. I went there, I think, in the end. In the beginning, I went to another place in Columbus, if I'm not mistaken, for my therapy to start with. Met this really nice lady, really nice. She, at first we were not friends because she pushed. She didn't let me back down. She, in the very beginning, she might have took it easy on me, but then she's just like, no, no, nice and easy's over. Time to get to work. And I did a bunch of different physical activities, different exercises, including things with putty. She had this machine, kind of like an incubator for babies, except for you stick your arm in it, you stick your arm through this cloth thing, this cover that's inside of it, and you lay it down, and it had some type of a sand in it, and they would turn it on and let it, all over your arm. And I can't remember what it was called. I don't even remember the exact process that it was doing. You could probably Google it or whatever. But it had this warming sensation to where it was like a massage type thing. And it would kind of relax your muscles and make them feel better after all the physical therapy you just got done putting it through. And it actually did. It would help it. I mean, at first, it didn't really help so much. But gradually, it helped. There was times I really didn't even, have a need to really feel like doing it. I guess because, obviously I was healing. I was told that I would have, arthritis as I got older. I would know when it was about to rain because my arthritis would tell me. And honestly, and they also said my arm would never be 100%. Well, it got pretty damn close. As I was growing, in my 20s, I was getting arthritis in it. I don't know what happened, but I know when I've had arthritis because I would have, I would only have so much of ability to straighten it out. I may have so much flex, and then I would have to pop it. I'd have to pop the joint to break the arthritis or whatever. I don't have to do that as much anymore. But as I was, in my 20s and 30s, I was having to do that. But anyway, that was that. And I got through all that, went back to was back in school and everything. I was actually having to leave early at times to go to my physical therapy appointments. And finally got through all that and back to my normal self. And I noticed some kids were disappearing at the high school. A couple of them were friends. And I finally had a chance to stop and ask one of them, says, what's been, where you been? What's been going on? He said, oh, I quit school. I said, you quit school? He says, yeah, I quit school. He's 17, or no, he was 18. He said, yeah. I said, would your parents let you do it? I said, no, you can quit school at 17, sign yourself out. Legally, in Georgia, there's nothing they can do about it. Parents won't like it, but there's nothing they can do to stop you. I said, well, how do you do it? So you go to the counselor's office and get this form, take it around to all your teachers, have them fill it out, put your final grade on it, and then sign it. And you take it back to the counselor's office, and he says, okay, you're good to go. He said, they're not going to like it. He said, they're going to want to talk to you, but there's nothing they can do about it. So my 17th birthday, that was my goal. So on the day of my 17th birthday, I walked in the counselor's office. I want a withdrawal form. Why you want a withdrawal form? Why else do you think I want a withdrawal form? What, are you moving to another school? No. Well, what's going on? I'm quitting. We would really advise you not to do that. I'm sure, and I respect you. I respect your opinion. I respect your advice, but I'm not. I'm not gonna follow it. This is my decision. I've got plans. It'll all work out. Because also at the time, I'm skipping ahead. Right before this time, Daddy had got really in over his head, upside down financially, because the owner of Long of Chattanooga, when they went to find him an apartment, they found him an efficiency apartment in Hickson, Tennessee, which, if you know anything about Hickson, Tennessee, is probably a pretty expensive area, or at least it seems that way, because they got malls and everything else. They think everybody's got money. Um, anyway, they didn't pick it out to his benefit. They picked it out regardless, just to get him up here. And I don't know. I do not have any idea what he was paying rent on for it. But all I can tell you is when you're trying to pay rent on an apartment, utilities for that apartment, whatever's not provided, unless the owner was maybe helping out with it, which I doubt. Plus, you're paying your own mortgage at your home in another area, and trying to keep the utilities paid on that. Plus, still trying to put food on the table for your family at home, and trying to feed yourself. The only thing he didn't have to pay for was his own car up there, because they always gave him a demo vehicle to drive, and they supplied the gas. But all the additional costs, if you're not considering that to start with, if you ever get a job offer and it's out of town, I'm telling you right now, you need to take all that in consideration when they offer you that salary. Because that salary's got to pay for both ends. Might sound really nice in the beginning, because it's $150,000, whatever it is, $200,000 a year. Well, you got to consider the cost of living for the area that you're going to be living in on your own for the time being, until you can get your family moved, unless you can move your family immediately. All the other expenses that are going to be involved, all the expenses that you're still going to have at the property you currently own, or that you're currently renting, waiting to get out of the lease with. So, I found out, unfortunately, instead of me getting a chance to finish my high school years at Manchester, which I wasn't really that interested in to begin with, but I was still trying to hold on. We had to move. And we were going to move the summer of '97, if not sooner. So I kind of made it a little easy for everyone's decision making, especially Daddy's, which he didn't like it. I didn't go talk to him about it. I didn't talk to him or Mama. I didn't tell nobody. I didn't even tell my sister. Didn't even tell my friends at school what I was doing. I just did it. Went to the counselor's office on my 17th birthday. Asked for the paper. He tried to talk me out of it. I said, "That's whatever. This is gonna be. I appreciate and respect what you got to say. This is gonna be." Each class, I got it signed off for the final grade. Talked to my teachers, told them I appreciated them. A couple of them I told them I appreciated. Some of the rest of them were just a bunch of scumbags. Didn't really care. Didn't like. I didn't like them. They didn't like me, and I really didn't give a shit. Then next thing I know, I'm getting called to one of the assistant principal's office. Kind of figured what was going on. Went in there, and I respected her and she respected me. We respected each other to a point. She'd help me out with some little issues involving other students that were giving some other students a hard time, and I kind of intervened and got one kid suspended from school for a few days, and his next step was going to be expulsion. Um, Proud of how he's kind of turned out here lately. I went and looked at his Facebook stuff, and he's looks like he's really kind of turned himself around in a huge way. But anyway, thanks Frank Carter. Frank, if you ever see this, reach out to me. Maybe we have some maybe we have some things we need to discuss from the past and squash some things. And I'll try to contact you possibly. Um, anyway, talked to the assistant principal. She says, "Well, you got to finish your education." I said, "I'm going to." "Well, what are your plans?" I said, "I'm going to go to GED school, get myself caught up where I need to be, take the final test, take the high school, take the GED, and then move on." She said, "Well, what are you going to do for a job?" She said, "You need to go to college and everything." I said, "Well, I'll probably go to tech school or something." She said, "What do you intend on doing with your life?" I said, "I'm going to be a truck driver." "Oh, well, they make pretty good money." In the meantime, we'll continue this. Kids are home. Talk to you later. Uh, we'll be on part 5 next. I'll leave it right there. Bye.